right to our top story tonight, and it's Republicans once again accusing Barack Obama of flip-flopping, this time twice in one day. Now, during his big speech on energy earlier today, Senator Obama advocated tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to ease the pressure on the rising gas prices. Here's what he said previously and what he said today.
I do not believe that we should use the strategic oil reserves at this point. I have said and in fact supported a congressional resolution that said that we should suspend putting more oil into the strategic oil reserve. But the strategic oil reserve, I think, has to be reserved for a genuine emergency. We should sell 70 million barrels of oil from our strategic petroleum reserve for less expensive crude.
Well, the Obama campaign said later today that actually the senator hasn't changed his position at all, but that he favors a limited swapping of light sweet crude from the SPR for heavier crude sometime in the future. Meanwhile, Senator Obama also said that he could live with some new offshore drilling so long as it was part of a larger energy plan that also puts an emphasis on alternative forms of energy and conservation. Again, here is what he said recently versus what he said this morning.
Now the latest scheme is, well, we're going to drill offshore. I know how bad people are hurting. So if I thought that by drilling offshore we could solve our problem, I'd do it. Like all compromises, this one has its drawbacks. It does include a limited amount of new offshore drilling. And while I still don't believe that's a particularly meaningful short-term or long-term solution, what I've said is I'm willing to consider it if it's necessary to actually pass a comprehensive plan.
The Associated Press calling these two position changes, quote, reversals, while Republicans call them flip-flops. Joining us with an analysis, former Clinton advisor and the author of Fleeced, Dick Morris. Dick, welcome back.
I call it good, clean politics.
Well, good, clean politics. Look, he said if I thought it would make a difference, I'd do it. So now he did it. Yeah. We can go through the McCain reversals. He wouldn't drill off the coast of Florida. Right. Now he will. We can play that game either way, right?
First of all, let me say what I think about the issue. If you announce a lifting of the moratorium on drilling offshore, you will have an immediate impact on oil prices because the oil prices are determined by the oil futures. And everybody will be betting then on oil dropping in the future, and in fact then it will drop in the present. So the argument that just because this stuff won't actually be black oil for 6 years doesn't work, because the very announcement of it will bring those prices down.
In fact, it did in 2000, didn't it, when it happened during the Clinton administration?
Yes, and it just happened a couple of weeks ago when Bush announced he was lifting his executive order. As to the flip-flops and so on, yeah, obviously Obama is flipping and flopping, but you know, McCain, as you say, is also vulnerable on that. And I think that voters are going to draw negative conclusions from it, but I don't think that's how you beat Obama. I think that that increasingly there's a real irony going on here. The worse the economy gets, you would think it hurts Bush and hurts the Republicans. I believe the worse the economy gets, the more people get scared to death about what might happen if Obama gets elected and raises taxes.
Why would you think that if McCain has not articulated a vision for the economy any different than what Bush is doing?
Because this isn't an election of McCain against Obama. This is an election of Obama against Obama. The question everybody's asking, Cokie Roberts put it well in a column this week, is Obama safe? And the worst, and if you had a nice economy going okay, and you didn't have a lot of foreign threats, like in '92 you didn't, they could take a chance on Obama. But as the threat level arises, both at home and abroad, the economy and national security, it becomes harder and harder to close your eyes and bet on Obama.
Doesn't Obama have to make, and can he make the case that McCain has articulated no economic strategy? He would continue Bush. It would be Bush straight for the economy. He said nothing about the economy.
Everybody understands McCain is safe. And when Obama says, by the way, that he's only going to raise taxes on the rich, that's like the captain of a ship saying the only room he's going to shut down is the engine room.
Hey, Dick, by the way, congrats again on the book. This is phenomenal.
The reason it's doing so well is that it lays out what Obama has said he'll do. Later in the show, you're going to have this kid on, David Freddoso, who wrote the
great book,
The Case Against Obama. This goes through his career and talks about it.
Right.
My book goes through, and my wife's book goes through the campaign and the agenda.
Yeah.
So together, they really make it work.
Let me ask you this. I'm listening to this, you know, him talk about the strategic reserves and changing his mind on drilling offshore and whatever. Yeah. I was actually joking and predicting when he might do this here. The job of a president, and you were there, is to make a tough decision. And if we look at, you know, all his positions where he's at now, he's almost adopted Hillary's...
You remember I worked for Clinton?
Yeah, I remember that. All right, well, that's a good point. But you know, say what you will about John McCain. John McCain's made tough decisions. He sticks by them, and a lot of them I disagree with. What about the case here?
Well, I think that this election is really reaching a point where it's changing.
I agree.
Until about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I was quite convinced Obama was going to win, and I didn't give McCain much of a chance. Now, when I see he survived the European trip, that the polls are now essentially tied, I'm beginning to think McCain really has a shot. And the shot, but it's important that he choose his targets. Obama's half right when he says McCain is going to try to scare you. But he's wrong when he says he's going to try to scare you over race. That's what he wishes McCain would try to do. What he's going to do is to say, with Iran on the verge of nuclear weapons, with a war looming in the Middle East, with the economy in turmoil and capital flowing from the United States like blood rushing out, can you dare have Obama's tax increases and Obama's naivete?
We follow politics. I mean, this is our passion in life. When you lose 10 points in a week, as he has now lost 10 points, when you look at the different poll numbers.
From the bump to the non-bump.
When he brought up the race issue, as he did, as volatile as that can be, you know, the issue of oil and energy and the economy here, you know, how are the American people going to interpret that in terms of who he is and what his value system is?
Well, to me, one of the biggest reasons that I think he can be defeated now is the incompetence of the McCain campaign. If McCain, waging such a lousy campaign as he has over the last month, is still even with this guy, if he ever starts to run a good campaign, putting economist after economist on, talking about how Obama is going to cause a depression, not just a recession, a depression, and putting national security types on, saying he doesn't know how to deal with Iran, he's naive in dealing with them, and saying it's a tiny little country that can't hurt us much. You put people on after that, then he really could open up some distance.
All right, stay right there. More with Dick Morris coming up. And all